Hey everybody, this is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, coming to you out of Holiday, Florida this evening. And I got inspired. I wanted to make a video with the subject line, is your business evolving? So in this video, I'm going to discuss the nature of business in today's economy, basically. Let me first give some clarification on what I consider, my own personal definition for business. And I get it from that old saying, mind your own business. Mind your business, right? Super important to mind your own business, right? We learn it later on in life, maybe if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you've read Robert Kiyosaki books or anything like that. Business, to me, is literally everything. It's your work, it's your investments, it's how you spend your money, it's how you have relationships, it's who you're friends with, it's who you sleep with, it's all that all tied up together. That's what I consider business. All of it's business. Recently, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I wanted to help some people out. I know that there may be somebody out there that will watch this and will say, holy moly, something has got to kind of give for me. And it may be something that you were resisting. Maybe it's something that we're fighting against. And basically, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I'm not too pixely, because that's what I'm seeing. I see pixels. So I want to show you where I grew up, because this is going to be a story about, a really great place to live and what happens when the economy shifts and business shifts completely, and what happens to people that live there. And the story, you could probably say, over and over again, across America, old coal mine boom towns and so forth, gold mining towns where just, when business was done, it was done. Oh, let me see if this image is too small. I want you to be able to see it. I think this one here. Oh my goodness. What happened to the image? Anyway, I'm going to give you an idea. It's Montauk Point, Montauk, New York, right? That's where I grew up. I was born and raised. I was born in Southampton Hospital, where everybody in Montauk is born, except for maybe these days more people have home births. This is a pretty good idea. I know there's a better one. We basically grew up in this area that is just so ridiculously beautiful. Okay, here we go. Here's the point. Here's the harbor. Here's Fort Pond Bay, and all this is ocean. We literally could get in your car, and at any given day, you could be either in brackish water here, you could be over here, swimming next to where it breaks and turns into rough water. You could be in Fort Pond Bay, excellent snorkeling spot, and you could surf and surf cast almost everywhere here. And then as you get down this way into the Nat Peak stretch, the water becomes a little difficult to do surfing and things like that, and because breaks are really tough. But this is the type of community we lived in. As you can see, the harbor is probably the largest section, and this used to host one of the largest fishing industries in the world. As a matter of fact, it was called the largest fishing town in the world because the amount of economy that came from this area was absolutely astounding, okay? And then you have your main town, and in here you had, your tourist business. People want to come and get on this beach. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. They're decent waves. Sometimes they're really big, but most of the time it's something that almost anybody can swim in. And of course, we have the beautiful Montauk Point's, lighthouse. That's the very first lighthouse commissioned by George Washington in his term as president. We have a lot of green space, as you can see. Lots of this is all state green space, and the rest of it's green. And it's a very wonderful place to be. And growing up here was difficult in some aspects because it was very seasonal. In the winter, these sidewalks, if there were any, rolled up literally in the wintertime. So you had better had made a good hustle in the summer, or you were going to fail dramatically in the winter. Now, that still remains to be true. Let me see if I get a picture. It's more realistic. Or old. Wow. Oh no, it's Lake Montauk's right there. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Or maybe I'll give you another picture. Just give you, just because it's absolutely gorgeous. This was the kind of life that I grew up in. Here's the point here, and there's a lot of Montauk Monster pictures. I'm not sure why, but here's like the main restaurant in town. Right here, this is Shagwan. It's been there forever. It's an iconic place. Billy Joel will come in there and get drunk and get on the piano and play. Okay, this is the castle called the Montauk Manor. I lived here for years. Literally a castle on the hill. This was designed by Carl Fisher, the guy that designed old Miami Beach. This place is just crazy. Look at that. Rocky water. This is a great place to surf and surf cast. Absolutely wonderful. Loved this place. I loved it more as a young adult than I did as a child, because as a child, I just, whatever. That's besides the point. Let's see if this is a main restaurant here. Montauk Marine Basin, one of the oldest basins. There. Beautiful picture, Carl. Wow. Here's the old, this is the last stop on the train. I get nostalgic just looking at this. You ever heard of the Montauk Project? That's where that was located. Here's the Surfcasters. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Life is art out there, guys. I gotta tell you. Life is art. And then this happened. It got to the point where everybody in Montauk realized that, we've got to expand. We've got to be more open-minded about things. The fishing industry took a big dramatic loss. And it went over about 20 years, right? The fishing industry literally supported that town for so long. Men were able to brave the storms and go out on 2-week, 1-month-long long lining trips and bust their butt and bring home the fish and sell the fish and make really good money. And that, it started turning into not so good money. I mean, guys used to make a lot of money. And then you get, a $1,500 7-day, 2-week trip, and if you really do the math, that's not very good money. And that kind of thing started going on, and just things got kind of crazy. I left there, I don't know how old I was even. I think I was 26 years old. I was gone. I had a very difficult time making it there. I did a lot of drugs. I partied really hard, so it was a little bit difficult for me to keep my shit straight. I mean, youth is wasted on the young, right? I can look back in hindsight. I had a great time, so I ain't gonna complain. But I got out of there and I moved up to Maine. And the thing is things were starting to shift then, and this is the reality of the situation. The business of the people of Montauk was starting to shift at that time. And the thing is I wasn't prepared or ready to evolve at all. Not even a little bit. I just wanted to continue being the bartender in a fishing town. So instead of doing any kind of evolving in my own mind or changing for myself, I just changed my location. I moved to Maine. I moved to Portland. I said, that's perfect. It's gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. And, I just made that move, I just said, I'm just going to move. I wanted to stay the same person and move. And I've had that kind of thing happen. There was a long time in my life where I said, gosh, I should have never left. And it hasn't been until recently that it's okay. Because now I see something that's going on. And from the outside looking in, it's heartbreaking. And I could just imagine how heartbreaking I would be if I was there. But, even when I moved to Florida, I just wanted to be the bartender in the fishing town. That's all I wanted to be. At the time when I moved here, I was actually a car salesman, so I figured I'd get a car salesman job. I just still, very small amount of growth went on between high school and 30, and then even on. I think we moved to Florida when I was 34 or 35 years old. It just never really wanted much difference, and that entire time I felt that way. I always wished that I had never left Montauk. Well, instead, right now what's happening is this town as I was leaving, people were starting to move there and starting to stay year-round. They weren't just coming for the summers. The place didn't just, boom, empty out every single year and just leave people devastated if they didn't prepare correctly for the winter. It just didn't do that anymore. More important people stayed. When I lived there, it was 5,000 year-round residents, give or take. From the time I was born up until I left, it was probably anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people year-round. Higher end, of course, at the latter. Now, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but I'm pretty sure it's high, and it's way higher than Montauk needs to be. But that's a good news, right? You know, more people comes more business, right? More people means restaurants will stay open year-round. And if you hustle and you're good at it, you're going to get a job in a restaurant. You're going to be able to work year-round and pay your bills and enjoy yourself. Because, you know, if you can't go on vacation, you might as well live where vacation is, right? I mean, you really can't beat it. It's a place where many, many people choose to lay their head, man. It's just beautiful. But that didn't happen. Next thing you know, there's a 7-Eleven. Now, I hope it stops there. I bless your hearts, guys. I really do, because all that 7-Eleven did was show everybody else in town that was an entrepreneur and has employees that you could pay people what you pay people at 7-Eleven to do. And that's just, in that community, it's devastating. Well, let me remind you, Montauk is part of East Hampton Township, and that is the Hamptons. And it's just as expensive to live there as it is in the Hamptons. And people live making minimum wage. There are friends with that I have that have hustled it and stayed and busted their ass and evolved a little and stayed and worked and worked and worked and stayed at, you know, one friend of mine, she stayed at the same restaurant for almost 20 years, if not more. It can't support her anymore. She's making the same money, but she's working more parts of the year now, and she can't keep up. She can't stay. The summer came, and she had to get the fuck out of there. Now, what I want to ask you guys is, if you've ever experienced anything like this, if you see a larger shift, I mean, I remember talking to a friend of mine that's still there, and he said he was talking about the economic bubble, the real estate bubble. It really hasn't hit here. We're living in a bubble. But no, guys, because yeah, your houses may still be worth the same, but your property taxes are higher than they ever were. It's a land grab. It's over, unless the people that live there switch their minds up and evolve. Are they going to be able to stay? Because I guarantee you, the people that are moving in, that are demanding cheaper prices, they want to pay cheaper if they're, you know, like brick and mortar entrepreneurs. They've got investments, man. They're entrepreneurs. They've got business. They're not just worried about the next shift. They got business. And if you are in a place that you know it's a once in a lifetime experience and you want to be there, and maybe you know, when you were in your 20s, it was awesome socks. It was the balls to be the bartender and have fun and make some good money, and maybe that's okay. I'm sure that is okay. But if shit's changed and you haven't evolved, you're not coming around to where, you know, you need to be. If you think that opening up a shop, you know, like a little gift shop, is going to give you entrepreneurial edge to be able to stay in this town that you love, it's not going to work. The only thing that'll work, and this is for anybody across America, anywhere, because this happens all over the place. This is not the only town that's going to lose literally 80% of their local content. Is going to have to leave. They have no choice. They're going to be living in Hampton Bays and Center Reach, and they're going to Riverhead. They're not going to be able to afford to stay there. They're not going to be able to do it. And if they want to go and enjoy it, they're going to have to get into Long Island summer traffic to get there. That was the beauty of being from Montauk, because you didn't have to. You didn't have to brave the storm of Hampton's traffic. You were at the last stop. So, it's my urging or my plea to you all, anybody out there, if you're from Montauk, great, I hope you're hearing it, and I hope that that you are evolving and things are not as difficult for you and you're not as worried about whether or not you can stay, and I hope that you enjoy this summer so, so much, and I hope that you find a way, and that you are finding a way, and things are happening for you, and you're starting to experience multiple streams of income, and things are happening for you. You know what I'm saying? You just can't rely on that shift anymore to hold your head up in this town. But if you're from somewhere else in the United States where you've experienced this, they're everywhere. There's ghost towns where people leave. You know, if you want to stay there, I want you to really examine what part of you can't stay in order for you to be able to stay. What part of you right now can no longer exist if you want to stay where you are? Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. For instance, if I wanted to live in Montauk right now, say if I stayed there, say I'm still there, and I was facing what a lot of local people are facing, you know, people that have lived there their whole lives, they don't even have a fucking place to live in the summers here, and now all the rentals are $7,000 a week. The same place they could rent in the winter for, you know, $700 a month. Who owns those houses? Who's controlling that? Why aren't you in on that awesome real estate? Why aren't you in on that? How about, you know, you could do that. If you own your home in Montauk and you're friends with another couple and maybe another couple, and there's like 3 of you, 3 different houses, 2 couples clean their houses up and put them on the market for the summer, and you all live together. Create some income. You split the money up. Could you imagine how much better your winter would be if you did that? You got to start thinking outside what you normally are. If you want to stick it out in a place that you know is one of the most incredible places on the planet to live, you've got to find a way to stop being who you are that won't allow you to stay. If you're focusing on the service industry or whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're doing, if there's some sort of adjustment you have to make and you don't want to leave there, then do the hard work and make that adjustment for yourself. Make that adjustment for yourself. There's the internet now. You can literally run a business from your house. It's true. Are you looking at me in this webinar right now or whatever I'm doing a hangout? This is my bedroom, guys. In my house. This is my money box. This computer is where I go to work. I get up in the morning, I make myself a cup of coffee, I go out into the garden with a book or with my journal. Right now I'm doing a story rewrite. So, you know what I'm saying? I get in there and I start working on my mind first. Maybe that's where you got to start. Obviously, that's where you got to start. You know, and then after that, I come inside and I put on a, this gentleman I want to hire as a coach, as a life coach, as a business coach. I want to hire him. So I take as much free content I can get off of him and his podcasts. And I listen to that as I start deciding what it is I'm going to produce for content for the day. I mean, I do network marketing. That's what I do. I'm not the best blogger. I'm not the best videographer. I don't make the most money. You know what I mean? I know that I have the best vision for my life, and I know that I'm willing to evolve so that I can have it. You know, you never know, guys. I might move back to Montauk one day, and guess what? I won't be worried about whether or not I'll be forced to leave because of finances. You know, if you want to stay in Montauk, you want to stay in that place, do you know how much money you got to make a month to do that? I know you know it. I know you know what the number is. And in order to make it an enterprise and a business that you can really love, you've got to get into real estate. You've got to be the one that gets the check for the seasonal rentals. I'm not talking about going and get your certificate to be a real estate agent. That's bullshit. That's not that. I'm talking about real entrepreneurialism. I'm talking about investing in your business, whatever it takes. I know damn well that 90% of the people in Montauk will work 3 or 4 jobs this summer and bust their ass and be broke by the end of November. If you're willing to do that, to stay there, why aren't you, be willing to really change what it is you need to change in order to make sure that stays your home? Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do. If going to the bar isn't going to help you out, keeping yourself there, then maybe, the nightlife in Montauk isn't necessarily part of what you need to be part of anymore. But I don't think that's a lot of the issue for people. I really don't. I think it's they're busting their ass and they deserve to live there. They've worked there their whole life, and it's a blood, sweat, and tears thing, and it's a terrible breakup when people are forced to financially leave. They've been held hostage, and now they're being kicked out. So if you want to stay this summer, get you those 2 shifts, bust your ass, and whenever you're not at work, do your growth. Find a way to grow. Start saying to yourself, it's amazing how opportunities just fall into my lap. There's a huge spirituality about Montauk. Montauk is a power grid on this earth. It's one of the power grids. You can create anything from that place. All you have to do is tap into the power. The power lies in you, because without you, Montauk, there is no Montauk. It's just another beach party then. This is Coach Tara Woodruff, the Mind Reset Coach, coming to you on Holiday, Florida. Maybe someday I'll see you soon. Peace.